Hello, everybody, and welcome to another Wednesday night of Dungeon Masters of Entrath. Breaking out an entirely new stream setup today, which I'm hoping will not take a massive dump on me. Um, when I tried this setup on Monday, I was dropping a ton of frames. I believe I fixed the problem, but if there seem to be issues, please do let me know. If the sound levels are bad and the music is too loud, please let me know. Uh, this is an entirely new version of OBS that I'm using for streaming, and I believe I have everything ported over and correctly set up. If everything works as I have intended, then it should be a significant upgrade on how we take care of business here. But since this is the first time we are using it, please make me aware of any issues so that I can try to adjust those things on the fly. If you are tuning in for the first time, this is Dungeon Masters of Entrath, a game show I host every Wednesday night. I am based in Minnesota, so to use my own time, we tend to stream from about 7 p.m. until 10 p.m. I take on the role of your game show host and the Dungeon Master here. I design a series of decks for you to challenge. If you are successful and you complete the dungeon, then you win the grand prize. If you fail at any point in the dungeon run, your run is over, and we add something on to the prize list for the next person to challenging the dungeon. So every time somebody fails, the dungeon prize pool gets larger. The current dungeon is the Silver Standard Dungeon, so to be eligible to participate in the dungeon, your deck needs to be standard format, so the most recent 4 sets, and it can only use common and uncommon cards. No rares or legendaries allowed. Now, I, as the Dungeon Master, do cheat on that, and you will see that my decks make use of some rares and legendaries. That's specifically designed to kind of fill in the place of an AI-only card. This is the current dungeon map, so all players who start in the dungeon will start in room 1 and then move on to room 2. At that point, they have the decision to make of going left and going through rooms 3 and 4, or taking the right fork and doing rooms 5 and 6. Each path has an optional bonus room. That room can only be completed once, and the person who wins that bonus room gets a secret special prize, and then that room is sealed off to future challengers. And then, of course, the final room, whichever path you take, gets you to the final boss. Defeat the final boss, and the grand prize is yours. To try to keep things a little bit cleaner, I'm not showing the grand prize list on the stream anymore. I haven't yet found a good way to make that visually appealing and not just an incredible eyesore. So for now, the chat command is !prizes. Probably doesn't work very well if you are on mobile, unfortunately, but if you're streaming from desktop, that will pull up the Google document where the prize list can be found. Eventually, I look to have a better solution on how to display that, but for now, I wanted to do work on mostly the visual upgrades on the overall stream setup. And you can, same with rules, you can type !rules to see a print version of all the rules for the current dungeon that can be reviewed at your leisure. Now, at the beginning of a stream like this, I always say if there's anybody in chat right now who has a rules compliant deck built, so standard commons and uncommons only, and wishes to challenge the dungeon, please speak up in chat and let me know this. Early on in the stream, it is often the case that we don't have very many viewers in the stream yet, so the early bird gets special priority to be able to get a dungeon run so that we have a show going on. If we have multiple people express interest at the same time, I may do a roll-off, and as the show hopefully continues to grow, eventually we are going to start doing ticket raffles for entry. But right now I tend to not do ticket raffles just because it seems rather silly to make a bunch of people enter in tickets if there's only 1 or 2 people who are trying to get in the dungeon. Now, if we do not have challengers, then I will often stream some limited content so that we have so we do actually have some hex action going on to keep our time, full of hex action here. So I'm just moving, bear with me as I move a few things around on my desktop just to get everything how I want it for future reference here. Okay, looks good. So again, if anybody has a deck, has common and uncommon, standard, legal only decks, and wishes to challenge the dungeon, let me know. In the meantime, do I have an Evo run going on? I usually do Evo games as filler when we don't have a run because they're best of one. It's when a game is over we can get back into dungeon runs. To jump into the constructed ladder, or even worse, the draft queue, makes things worse. I don't like to just concede games on the ladder to get into a dungeon challenge. Even more so, I don't want to concede a draft game. So Evo seems best. I had not built a deck with this Evo pool, so we have to start by reminding ourselves what is in it. And actually I should add a bit of a line of text here on our stream. I forgot this one thing, so bear with me as I do a spot of live updates. Let me know if you wish to challenge the dungeon. Okay, that's not what that's supposed to say. Oh, it worked and then I screwed it up. Okay, sorry, new version of OBS, learning pains. Golly, that's way too big. Oh, come on, OBS, there we go. Hopefully that's good enough. Alright, back to what we were doing. Sorry about that, I just want to make that clear to anybody popping in. I didn't spell challenge right, did I? God, I look like such a noob streamer today. I went to school for English, folks. I should know how to do that. Okay. And now the N is there. Okay. Fixed, better. Boom. Alright, so now while we wait for any dungeon challengers, let's get this Evo built. Alright, so Gravengeist works well with Explosion and the Dread Apprentices. There's a Mosh Pit Gladiator, which is nice. A couple pieces of removal. Not a huge fan of Drain Soul. Just because it's expensive for what it does, but it's a thing at least. Alright, in Diamond, a Storm Rider, Mooncall Ceremony, Bring to Justice are good, but there's no real beatdown troops in here. This seems kind of thin. In Ruby, two Mortar Trike drivers, Feed the Flames, Boisterous Ballad, Fire in the Hole, Astral Transmuter. There's some decent things in here. Not a huge fan of this Sapphire pool. Okay, and in Wild, Deepwood Droka, Arendelle Monk, Snarling Braves, help for a little bit of acceleration, Eager Lackey, and in Shardless, Roidbot for fixing. A Shambling Junker would also work with the Dreadling build. Chaos Gate. At the start of your turn, void all cards. Maybe someday that card will do something. I just have difficulty imagining a situation where it's good and you're happy to have it. We do have coins of the blood and wild flavors. And it is, I have a thunderstorm going on outside, so hopefully that sound isn't bothering anybody or isn't coming through, but if you hear random rumblings, I would assume that's the cause. So I'm going to throw together some things here. I'm feeling... God, is Blood Wild Ruby? Trip Shard? Or maybe just pick two? The Mortar Trike Drivers are great. Lava Shaper is great, but the Allegiance aspect of it might be a little bit dicey. Oh, that's pretty close. Roidbot, Shambling Junker. It's actually pretty close on its own with just two. A little thin on troops, though. We have a couple sources to make some more. I don't want to have 3 different Tri-Shards. What do we have for types? Potent Puffball could be a good fit there. If we go Dreadling. Okay, so now this actually needs cuts. Probably Lava Shaper, just because the Underworld Allegiance, or the Ardent Allegiance is a little bit dicey. Cut Fire in the Hole is a double threshold. Again, in the name of attempted consistency. Okay, so one card has to go. probably needs to be a troop. Probably get rid of the Arena Regular. We do want to make some Dreadlings. I think this is a Bloodspinner Zorath pile. Reset our filters here. Okay, so that's 7 sources of blood. Okay, I did math wrong because that's 19 shards. 6 each on the coins. I can actually get rid of the coins. Okay, so did I mess up the math with the rest of the deck? Yeah, I'm still 1 card over. I think it's Shambling Junker. Shambling Junker and Gravengeist don't work together. Goliath, I would like to run the dungeon. Excellent. Let me slap some shards back in this, and then save the deck, and then we can do that. Oh, so 6. I think I'm just going to go 666 right now. 6. Mosh Pit Gladiator needs any other validation checks? Nope, that's legal. Save that and back out. Okay, so Goliath, let me know your in-game name so that I know when a challenge comes in, you know, that it is from you, and so that in the unlikely event some other random challenge comes, I know, you know, if it's you or if it's not you. The first room in the dungeon is always the same. Goliathus. Okay, so I'm gonna... Oops, not Mal. Whisper. Goliathus. Okay, there we go. So just sent you a message. So send me a challenge when you're ready with your standard deck, and then we can get started. As always, I would ask that you have the channel muted, minimized while we're playing. Silver Standard, Room 1. Oop. Alright, Silver Standard, Room 1. Accept. Alright, here we go. We have our first challenger of the night. I'm going to take down the dungeon map. I'm going to take down the notice, because we have a challenger. Alright. This seems good. Turn 1 Dread Factory into turn 2 Dread Botanist. And we can start getting the Dread Factory online. And Oh, sorry, my eye is suddenly really itchy. Okay. Got our second shard. And so now we can start the Dread Factory train going. Okay. No plays on 2. Can't forget to get the exhaust trigger on the Dread Factory. Play out a Probe Orb Air for resource efficiency. And just exhaust that Dreadling right now onto the Dread Factory. Because I'd rather have the point towards getting that online. Oh, that's dumb. And then I swinged in with the bunny. Yeah, that was not correct. Bad Dungeon Master. Rock Slider. Alright, so that deck is going to want to be bringing charges to bear against us. Get a second Wild Shard. Exhaust those 2 Dreadlings so that the Dread Factory is now complete. And then I think the play is to swing here. That can't block that. Well, that can block that, but there's no resources. Yeah, we're going to swing with both. Play out another Dread Botanist just to keep the swarm going. This just continually gets weaker. Alright, so now Rock Slider is a 3-4 crush. If that swings, we're going to let it in. That opens it up to being butchered here. So we're going to let all of that through. And the Probe Orb pair goes back into our hand, so we're not going to get the Dreadling off of that, so now we're taking 5. Galathea still has 2 resources available if they wish to add in more hurt, if they have the ability to do so. And we are now generating four Dreadlings a turn. Let's go for the champ power to make all of those bigger. Sapphire. Gain 2 charges, stun each opposing troop with power 1 or less, or interrupt all basic actions. So that is going to be a stun. Which completely renders our board inert. Which is a good use of that tech. We're going to get that Rock Slider off the board. Get the Probe Orb pair back out there. So we basically threw away our charge power there for no effect. And And one of the changes in the stream layout, which is there, you just can't see it until it's relevant, is that chat actually is on stream, but chat will only show on stream when people have something to say. So when something new is typed in chat, it will show on screen for 20 seconds and then it fades. And I think the chat format, when it does show on screen, is infinitely more readable than the way it used to look. So Shoku's Garden here is going to be a nice combo for us too, buys us lots of time. And we're getting towards Bulky. Bulky is going to be an endgame killer because every time it's with these things, Dreadlings, I can't talk, survives to the end of the turn, it's going to deal 1 extra damage. And so now we're a fountain of health gain. And this is room 1 of the dungeon, for those of you just tuning in. Dungeon Masters of Entrath, weekly game show where I design a series of decks for people to compete against, and if you manage to clear all of the decks, then you win the grand prize. Matches are best of 1. If people have any questions, let me know. You can type exclamation prizes in chat to see the current prize list. If you're on desktop, it's not going to work so great if you're on mobile or console. And exclamation rules to get a print version of the dungeon rules to read and review at your convenience. Alright, so that is 2 bulkies with no means to afford them because we're missing the 6th resource. We'll just swing in with the Dreadlings and hold here. Because we're gaining right now 2, 3, 4, 5 health a turn just on the backs of Dreadlings. And our opponent is at 5 health, so we're not really terribly worried about a swing back. This is my first night streaming on my new streaming setup here, new layout. I think I have the audio levels okay, but if the music is too loud, let me know. One, two, three. This might be lethal, but I don't want to risk. So we're gonna exhaust our 5 Dreadlings just to keep the chain going. Get even more nuts. Because if we hit a shard and get a bulky out, those 2 plus bulky is almost certainly lethal next turn. I've got my prize additions mentally noted and sorted aside for the first 4 dungeon runs of the night if we have that many. Alright, a Webborn Apostate. So we're going to lose a challenge off our total here. Game will be over though before we hit a second charge. One, two, three, four, five, six, 7. Dreadling. 7. Dreadling swinging. 3. Blockers blocking. At least 2 points of damage. Theoretically. Could strangle, but would like to hold that in reserve on the off chance that there is a bigger threat coming. So yeah, we'll trade those for dreadlings. That's absolutely okay by us. Zap! Deal 1 damage to target opposing champion or troop and gain a charge. Okay, so that will take one of them off the board. That's going to take another one off the board. Alright, so our opponent is still alive, but is down to 1 health to our 43. The Dreadling generation was wombo combo today. At least this time. If there's anybody else in the chat who has a deck ready and wishes to challenge the dungeon, please speak up, because we currently do not have any queue behind Galatheus. Yeah, we're just gonna swing. Let's see how the Dreadlings fare. Alright, good games. I need to send him a message because I don't know if I explain. Forgot to explain games are best of 1 if you had not heard, but you are able to challenge again. Alright, and the usual cooldown procedure too, again for any new viewers, is that I do allow the same person to challenge a dungeon repeatedly, especially if there happens to only be one person around at the time who wants to challenge the dungeon. But to keep the show from being entirely one person bashing their head against the dungeon for 3 hours, I do have a cooldown of basically a 1-game timeout before the next person can run it. Alright, so Goliath knows what's going on. But just in case there's anybody around here who's new and doesn't know that. So I'm going to give it a second here if there's anybody else in chat who is ready to roll and wants to challenge the dungeon. Let me know if you want to challenge the dungeon. Otherwise, to make Goliath eligible again, I will jump into the Evo sealed pool here and play a game, and then at the conclusion of that Evo game, we would call that Goliath's cooldown for eligibility. Alright, give it another 10 seconds or so. So I have a bit of a stream delay. At least I'm not dropping frames. So the fix I made definitely worked because I was a glitchy mess the first time. Alright, we're going to jump into an Evo here so that Goliath gets their cooldown. We face Stormcrow with Ada the Apparitionist. This is the first season I've ever hit Cosmic, so that feels pretty good. Cosmic and Limited, anyway. Alright, so this is fine. We don't have any bloods, unfortunately, but we only needed one of each of these, and we have a Roid bot to fish for one of the bloods. So that is good for us. We have a turn 1 Eager Lackey. We have the resources to hit Mortar Trike Driver on curve. We have a piece of removal, so yeah, this hand is fine. All the non-blood cards. Alright, what's Eager Lackey gonna give us? Runeir Elite. When a troop enters play under your control, this gets +2/+2 this turn, and it has Crush. Not awful, but not by a long shot the best thing we could have hit there. Sugar Cane 88. Thank you for the follow. Welcome to the Empire, and hope you enjoy some Hex Game Show shenanigans here with us. We're in a Evo game in transition here right now. But at that point, as soon as this game is over, Goliath will be eligible to compete the dungeon again. If you have any questions about how the stream works, feel free to ask, and I'm happy to answer. Alright, so this definitely has to be blood. And let's take our point of damage. Our Eager Lackey gets zapped. Sure. And now next turn, Mortar Trike Driver. To get that going, probably, if no Shard, Dread Apprentice after that. Actually, this might be really good with Dread Apprentice. If I'm correct in how those two would interact with each other, then that would get huge on the back of Dreadlings. So it might be better to try to play this one first, hold out, and then get the Dread Apprentice the following turn. Alright, so if this doesn't immediately get hit by removal, then it's going to swing in as a 5/3 next turn. We do have Blitz too that could be used to make it even bigger. Alright, so that's 4 resources. I want to swing first to see how this is blocked. Okay, just a chump. So then we're going to play the Runeir Elite. And if this survives, then we're going to see how Dread Apprentice interacts with it next turn. Because this could be a really strong turn with this plus this plus this. Blitz triggering off of the Roid bot. Okay, we're going to take 3 in the air, and nothing we can do about that. Okay, Forlorn Soldier, Deathcry, put this into play. 8/2/2. Okay, so we want to do that. Now, is this going to hit a bunch of times? It did. Every one of those counted. Runeir Elite is now a 10/10 crush. That is amazing. And now we're going to swing with all of that. Let's see how they choose to block this. They want to get rid of the... they're going to let 10 sail through. I kind of want to... Well, that would get rid of a chump blocker, and that's going to come back anyway. Blitz can hit... I think it might be best to save that. Take our 12 damage. We can tomb... Yes, because we can tomb swap to get back the mortar trike driver. Wipe that out too. That was a hugely successful turn. And now we try to go for the knife and the heart here. Next turn. With tomb swap into mortar trike driver, which would then swing as a 9/3. Would pump that up twice. Okay, so they're... Unfortunately, they have a few more troops. Alright, say hello to our mortar trike driver again. And let's see how this is blocked. And that will dictate where we decide to play blitz. Birthing, this is limited. This is an Evo game. Goliath had a challenge earlier, and then nobody else had spoken up. So this is an Evo match to make sure that Goliath's cooldown is hit, so that they remain eligible. Alright, so they chose to double block the guy that has Crush, and only single block that. So we are going to throw the blitz on this to wipe all those out and then Crush over for some more damage. Can I challenge after this game, or does Alliance have to... I'm so happy to see the chat is working as intended on stream, and looks to me to be readable. That is a nice improvement. I think I'm going to give Goliath the next run again, since we went into this run specifically letting them cool down, and because their last run was just a room 1, so... but then after that, you would be next in the queue. So I really wanted to draw some gas there, because this would only trade here. That would probably trade there, or boom boom. These really aren't the most profitable swings. I'm going to just swing with that one to force a trade. Yep, that's the block I expected. And hopefully next turn we draw some gas. Alright, so they didn't get any gas either. Really? How'd they get up to 11 health? Did I miss an interaction there? I don't think this exhausted. I don't really want to do that, but these two are going to trade. That leaves them down to a single troop. Now, if we get a blood shard, we would have our we would have two dread banners, one after another. So now they could start swinging in to gain health. Alright, there's the second blood shard. So now we get one dread banner this turn and another one the next turn. Well, let's see if he actually wants to trade those. Okay, that's fine. Remarkably clean board here. Okay, they're one threshold away from having... And they do swing in. Now this is going to be a 4-4. So that's actually a net loss on health. It's... Oh, this is bad for them. Watch that explode. That's game. That was the top deck of God. Alright, I take back what I said about... I was talking shit about this guy earlier, but he's exactly what we needed for the kind of deck we were trying to run here. MVP Conscript. Alright, so that is 1-0 in that... Oh, snap! Pulverizer is the rare. So we got a bomb. Another Eager Lackey. A Wicked Web Spawn. There's a few good things here to look at when I revisit that. Alright, so that's going to be good. Okay, so Goliath, you are eligible to compete again, and Birthing Potter, you are second in the queue. So just due to stream delay, I'm also sending a PM, message ready when you are. Silver Standard Room 1. Alright, I'm going to take off the notice. I like these stream changes so far. The actual gameplay now takes up a lot more real estate. Chat only shows up when somebody has something relevant to say. So it does show up so people can read it, but it doesn't overstay its welcome. Alright, this is not as obnoxiously good a hand as we had the last time, but we can definitely work with this. So I'm going to keep it. Last time we just had the not so early game Dreadling generation. And this time it's going to take a little longer to build up to it. Oh, and there goes a shard towards our charge power. grab a wild. And pass the turn. And also, I'm a bad host and I forgot to update the prize list after that last run. So let's see if I can, let's see how well I can multitask here. Let's see, failed dungeon attempts is now 8. And my schedule says we're adding a warp steel widget to the prize pool. Okay, let's get a probe warp out here. Pass back the turn. And then I'm going to get all my screens back in their normal positions. There we go. Ah, so we're denied charges yet again. Alright, I want a second blood shard. This is the Dungeon Master's only cheat in the early rounds, is that the Dungeon Master will use the rare shards for threshold fixing, but otherwise the deck obeys the rules. It's only deeper into the dungeon where the deck starts to cheat with more impactful cards. Cheat is an AI only. So the Webborn Apostates, each opposing champion loses a charge and they gain a charge for every one of those. So they're at 5 charges already and we're only at 3. We are going to take 4 damage here, which is probably fine with Ashoku's Garden on the board. Three resources available. I would expect the likelihood is some kind of a blocker gets played. No. Pyre Strike. Deal 4 damage to our troop. Gets if this would die, void it instead. So, Probe Repair is gone. But wait, there is another. So I'll play another one and pass it back. We do have 3 Dreadlings in the crypt for Scrounge on any of these sources. Now that deck is probably built entirely around Rift Spasm and Charge Gain, just considering the tech we see here. Strangle that pre-combat or let it block? Sugarcane, found out about the stream from your Twitter. Seems to be a challenge of sorts. Do you have a write-up for it that I can read? Sugarcane, if you are on mobile, or I'm sorry, if you're on desktop, you can type !rules, and that will give you at least a brief, basic breakdown on what the rules are for a specific challenge. Let me see if I can find here the official forum thread to hextcg.com. So !rules will get you the rules. Forum. Where is it? I think it fell off the main page, front page. Here we go, Dungeon Masters of Entrath. So in addition to rules there, you can also see my forum thread in the HexTCG forums with more information about it. And of course, if you have questions, and if anything is unclear in that documentation that you'd like better explained, please let me know that, and I am happy to answer any questions you have. Because if you have a question, other people may have questions too, and that is how I know that something is lacking in my write-ups and that it needs to be explained better so that I can correct that for the future. Alright, so we're going to swing in with this mass of baddies here. I run this every Wednesday night from 7 to 10 U.S. Central Time. Okay, glad to hear that. Because I'm still working on my ability to try to explain what's going on and make sure the stream is working properly and actually play games of Hex at the same time. So sometimes I wonder. When you've gained 2 or more charges at this turn. Okay, so we're going to wait on the Strangle. Just to see if we can get some extra value if they try to play something else on that first. So this is our 12th episode of doing Dungeon Masters of Entrath. I started on February 8th and have been doing this every Wednesday since. And as my schedule has allowed, I have also done some weekend streams. Twitter is a great place to get updates on when I'm going live. I do not have any weekend plans currently, so I'm very strongly considering doing a bonus Dungeon Masters of Entrath stream this Saturday, since I'm going to be doing the Hex Clash on Sunday. But I haven't completely cleared my schedule or ruled out any social plans, so I don't want to commit to that just yet in case I'm wrong. But I think by tomorrow or Friday afternoon, I'll be able to tell people for sure if I'm going to do a bonus stream on Saturday. I find weekend streams have been, while it's good to continue showing up every Wednesday at my scheduled time, like I say, and keep streaming, I found the weekend streams are actually far more useful for finding a new audience and making people aware of this, because more people tend to be free. So I do want to do some weekend streams as I am able. Alright, so Burly Botanist is going to continue to amp up our Dreadling generation game. And then we're going to swing with everything here. The Rock Splitter can safely block one of these, but the Web-born Apostate can't profitably block anything. Well, it can. I guess that trade is actually probably pretty fine. But when we have Shoku's Garden online and some Dreadling generation means, we can comfortably afford to be aggressive without too much fear of crackbacks. Also, fun factoid for any new folks: this is the 5th dungeon, I believe. Yeah, we had two. The first dungeon was just a hodgepodge of decks I had built. The second one was kind of like this, where it was a common and uncommon theme deck. Then the third and the fourth decks were faction decks for the Ardent and the Underworld. And then this is our 5th deck, or 5th dungeon, which again goes to lower rarities for the sake of trying to help make the dungeon accessible to more players. Because everybody can pretty quickly, easily and cheaply, especially in the age of Evo, build up a fair collection of common and uncommon cards to be eligible to compete here. Although one deck may not necessarily be able to do it. Like, I did not design this dungeon specifically so that it could be clearable with just one deck. I mean, if you can do that, awesome. But you may need to study the deck and the dungeon and what each deck does. I allow people to change decks and use a different deck for each individual encounter. So you can study what the deck is dungeon's doing, and then specifically bring to bear a deck built to counter what's going on. You know, if you're so inclined, and if you want to put the time and energy into that. All right, so barring some surprise removal here, Birthing Potter, you are the next contestant, and then there is no one in line behind you currently. All right, Pyretic Performer. I'm not sure that that will do it. Yeah, we're just gonna continue the crushing overrun of Dreadlings. There it is. All right, so we're gonna update the count to 9 challenges. And the next thing to be added to our prize list here on the prize schedule is a copy of Polymorphic Army. So that is now viewable in the prize list document. Good Games Goliath. Birthing. Potter is on point, already ready with the challenge. So I will go ahead and accept. Alright, Goliath re-entering the queue. So it is noted. I don't actually have notes, but I'm not going to forget. God, this is a greedy keep. Objectively, this is kind of bad. 2 blood shards, no wild shards, but to draw 1 wild shard, and we have 2 Shoku's Garden, which could quickly turn online the Dread Apprentice, and yeah. So this is a risky keep, but has some significant potential upside. So we're going to play a Blood Shard and pass it on. And immediately rewarded. Turn 2... we get the Wild Shard for Shoku's Garden, so the Garden Dream is online. So we'll deal 2 damage here, we'll get 2 health. Nice little 4 life swing. If we play the next Garden the next turn, that health gain is going to get even more stupid. I think it's Garden and then Dread Apprentice. And then maybe by then we have Burly Botanist. No, those are gonna crush Dreadlings. Those are just gonna stand in front of Dreadlings without a care in the world. But we're gonna Shoku's Garden, and it's gonna be a race as to can McBombus deal damage faster than we can gain life on Dreadlings. Okay, 3 resources. Plays Consult the Talent to draw some more cards and should play a Bumblebot here. Yep. So the Embertongue Skarns are 1-3. Is there a swing with the Bumblebot? There is. So we're facing an open board. Oh, man. Alright. Shoku's Garden number 3. Just keep playing the health game, Gain. So much gardening. So now every time a Dreadling dies, it's worth 3 health to us. Let them grow, let them grow. Give us all the health. Have lizards to eat your gardens. We have a butcher, so we can knock one of those down a peg. 3 Skarns, 3 gardens. 4 Skarns. All of the Skarns. Well, this game's gonna be weird. Consult the Talon. So now the newer Skarns are 2, 3. The younger ones are 3. Oh, that combo is good. So we're going to get hit for 7. And that combat training is going to go back into hand. So Dread Apprentice can die to basically take out one of those. And these Dreadlings will hit for 3. And then give us 6 health. So it's gonna be a race. Who kills who faster? But those are gonna get big. Keep getting big, possibly faster than I can remove them. Arcane Focus makes all of them bigger. So if this isn't removed, we're definitely trading the Dread Apprentice for the biggest among the lot. Four Skarns. Pyre Strike. Oh, wow. Yeah, Birthing Potter cares not about our gardens. I think we're dead. Get rid of one thing. Play a blocker, but I think we're still dead on board. Block 6. Take 5, 10, 11, 12. Yeah, we're dead on board. So, Birthing Potter is going to move on to room number 2. Okay, that's us being even 4 points more dead. Flickering Gobbler. Another Bumblebot. Just trying to max DPS here to show off. Alright, so we attempt to play properly and block what we can. But room 1 has fallen. Alright, challenge when ready. I prefer that for room 1 it really doesn't matter because room 1 is always going to be the same. You know what it is going into it if you've ever seen a dungeon run done before. But after that, I prefer the challenger send a challenge to me when you are ready, because that way I know that you're using the deck that you wish to use for that next specific room. Because people are allowed time to change, so I don't like sending out the challenge because then I feel like I'm pressuring you to hurry up and pick a dungeon or pick a deck, and that's not really the intent of what I'm going for. Alright, so this is room 2. And just to quickly pull up the map, here, so Birthing Potter's at room 2. If they win this room, then they have the choice of going left or right. And that will decide their fate from here. Birthing Potter has switched decks and has gone with Takahiro to face Grandfather Elk. Not the strongest hand, but keepable. Eager Lackey is going to conscript us something. We can start working down a cheaper Iotachi Brute, and we do have a piece of removal. So it's a perfectly functional starting hand. Confirmed lizards are greater than gardens. So it appears. Alright, Fire in the Hole's not a terrible draw, though we do need a second Ruby Shard to make it viable. Eager Lackey gives us a Web Spinner Prelet. Spiders you control have Rage 1. In other words, a complete dud hit. It is basically a 2-4 for 4, because there are no spiders in this deck, so the added text doesn't do us anything here. Pelion bot, nice. I'm so glad somebody, I think you might be the first person to have caught that. But yes, that was a deliberate homage to Zahn's work. Alright, so we'll trade here if they want to do that, because swinging makes Iotachi Brute cheaper and Fire in the Hole better. In honor of the new Thrawn novel too, if I ever need yet another bot for some reason, I think the next bot's probably going to be Vanto bot for Thrawn's new sidekick Eli Vanto. I'm only about 320 pages through the book, so I haven't finished it yet, and I'm certainly not going to spoil anything here on stream because that'd just be super dumb. But I'm so excited to see Timothy Zahn writing Star Wars books again. They made absolutely the correct decision, both for bringing Thrawn back, though of course I'm the most biased person in the world on that, given my name and everything here. But if they were going to do that, then they were wise to also bring Zahn back to do the writing for it, since he invented the character in the first place. Alright, so Relentless Zombie is a core centerpiece to Birthing Potter's deck. We've seen this before in earlier runs last week. When a relentless zombie or voracious zombie enters play under your control, if this is in your crypt, put it into play. So the idea is that's okay to die, and then it's just going to keep coming back. So this may not be the world's most optimal thing, but I'm going to Pyre Strike that pre-combat to void it, so that's one less thing that's able to come back. And then swing for 4. And Fire in the Hole now does 3 damage to something. Any removal that doesn't void is kind of wasted on the Relentless Zombies because they can and will come back. And Mistlord would have been a great thing to combo with the Eager Lackey if that was still on the board. Wait, which one of these is upgraded? Okay, that one's upgraded. This one is not. So taking out the Mistlord, so the Oyotachi Brute can swing in for another 4 damage undisturbed. Won a match in Clash using Lackey plus Mistlord until I found Infinitrix. Now that is value right there. Just keep getting more troops, and you roll the dice enough, you're gonna get that super bomb. Alright, so gotta sacrifice the Oyotachi Brute. We'll go ahead and play another one. This can't kill the Death's Head Rider, so we'll just sit and pass. Mistlord, pay 3 to void this. So you're basically paying 3 a turn in that combo to keep creating 4 drops. I think that's worth it. Good card advantage. Shoot, that's probably going to make us discard 2 things. Although speed wouldn't be a bad choice either, because you're swinging into an open board. Get rid of those, keep the Fire in the Hole. Fire in the Hole can kill Smoke Claw Raker. And that leaves us in top deck mode. No swing. Okay, that was not what we wanted to get. A Surging Wildfire would be nice here. Especially if it gets to swing without being immediately removed. So the Cottontail Warcaller conscripts 2 Underworld troops, no cost assigned to them, so they could be all over the mana curve spectrum. I wonder if that's better over there, because that's just unused screen estate. Now you can more clearly see where we're sitting for resources. I think the music information's probably better moved over there. Come on, Surging Wildfire or some premium removal. Sacrifices the flyer. Whee! Shards! This was not the time to hit a Pocket of Flood. Cottontail Explorer will hit a shard. Drop a couple troops in the crypt. Duskwing Scavenger Flight. Deploy Void target troop in your crypt. This gets power equal to the voided troop's power. Oh, that's so good for them and bad for us. Smokeclaw Raker is going to go away, which gives the Duskwing Scavenger plus 5 attacks. That's now a 6-3 flyer. So the clock is now ticking. Alright. Eager Lackey, give us something good. Yeah, it only qualifies as passable. Alright, so this may not swing into lethal, but the 6-3 flyer is almost certainly swinging. And that puts us on a 3-turn clock by itself. Alright, a couple more things chucked in the crypt. And another Death's Head Rider. So, yeah, we're now on a 2-turn clock. Feed the flames. Does not need to be any bigger. So we get rid of the biggest threat, but we're still dead. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 swinging in. So room 2 is going to fall here, and Birthing Potter is going to have to decide if they want to take the left fork or the right fork in the dungeon with their next match. Alright, so time to pull up the dungeon map. Birthing Potter has a very important decision to make. Go to the left and face deck number 3. Go to the right, face deck number 5. So I'm going to leave the map up here. We'll wait for that decision and see what our next step is going to be here. Oh, there is a PM there. Left, Birthing Potter is brave and has chosen the left path. I want to be the first to beat the conscript room, Birthing Potter says. So last week, Peace Tinker attempted the left room twice, and got bombed out by conscripts twice. Which is why that last week's episode, when it was uploaded to YouTube, was jokingly referred to as Never Go Left. So we are going to bring out room 3. Room 3 is Undefeated. Could this change now? Not with this hand. Droka Outcast on 1, and then we hit Conscript, Conscript, Conscript to keep making it grow and giving us more toys. May the RNG be ever in your favor. I don't want to wish you the same. I know what that deck can do with it. Factually accurate. Alright, Droka Outcast. Alright, so we can actually Moon Call Ceremony twice to double pump that and then swing in for 3. And let's see here, we got Tongue of the Black Crucible, 1/4 life drain. Diligence, this deals 2 damage to each opposing champion, or transform it into Crucible Born, which is a 3/3 flyer, and if you have more health, it becomes a 6/6. And Ethereal Collar, deploy target troop in your crypt into play as a transform a troop in your crypt into Phantom and put it into play. Yeah, if Outcast dies, it can get and I don't think that doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't revert. It just transforms, so the buffs stay. So we're just gonna keep doing real sick things. Hit a high Infinitrix. Oh my goodness. And play Battle Preparations. And now swing with a 5/6. This deck is sick. This deck has just been doing some sick, nasty, horrible, dirty, filthy digital TCG things. It doesn't need rares. This would be an excellent target for Butcher right now. But Bishop Elijah is a thing too. Bring target troop with cost 2 or less from your crypt into your hand. And this is about, I think, just about dang near everything in the deck is going to run in that one, is going to run in range where Bishop Elijah can bring it back. Like, this deck has been doing such horrible things to people that I think it was probably a miscalculation to make it so early in the dungeon on the left fork, and it probably should have been a bonus room. But it's so fun to watch people play it that I kind of like, putting it in a position where people are actually going to see it. So we're going to swing with both of these. Because Bishop Elijah is a thing. So that could come back if we wanted it to. Let's play out a 4/4 flyer. And a Tongue of the Black Crucible. I'm going to sit on the champion power here. High Infinitrix next turn is just dirty. Could give that flight, and then there's a 5. That'd be a 6/7 flyer. Alright, so that is a Skyguard Steadfast Mechanized Gem Scout. That was gotten off the lackey. Alright, time for maximum filth. Maximum DM luck. I didn't even wish you good luck, Birthing Potter says. To end phase. I think I need to put an extra bounty on this deck. Yeah, just straight conscript can do some very amazing things. Alright, so is there an answer to 10 in the air next turn? There is not. Birthing Potter waving the white flag. And the conscription proves its absolute evilness. Evil, evil, evil. Okay, so that brings the counter up to 10. And I'm going to add a disclaimer onto the prize list. Dungeon Bounty. Evo pack to the first player to clear room 3. Alright, that's added onto the prize list here. So the first person, starting with this next run here, with Goliath is next in the queue. Starting with this run, room 3 stands, and we've added a bounty on that room specifically that the first person who can clear room 3 gets an Evo pack to sweeten the pot and to entice some people to try to go up against that particularly difficult deck. So Goliath 764, you are next. I do need to go AFK for just a moment here to use the restroom because the beer wants to get out. So I'm going to be away for just a moment here. I will be right back, and then you are up. So give me just like 2 minutes and I'll be right back. Okay, I am back. Goliath, if you are still here, you may challenge when ready. And if anybody else wants to get into the rotation or the queue for dungeon runs, please speak up in chat to let me know that. Alright, we start from room 1. Did I add anything? Okay, no, I did not. So we're adding one Scars of War booster to the prize pool. It's now up to 5 boosters. Alright, this is kind of a poop hand, but we're gonna roll with it. We have a turn 2 Shoku's Guard, a turn 3 Probe Warpair, and that's it. Hopefully we'll find something else by then. But with 5 shards and 3 in blood, we'll be able to run anything we pick up pretty much. Could have done without that being a shard. Ooh, that's a nice hit. 3-2 with speed. So that will become a Swift Striker before we have the opportunity to do anything about it. Although the Probe Warpair can't stand in front of it. Crackling Tide is going to send the Probe Warpair back into the hand. Okay. So we're taking 3. And we basically just got tempo to turn another shard. Feels bad. Now I really regret keeping that hand for 5, 6, 7 shards. I would like to put myself back in the queue. I am a glutton for punishment. Consider yourself so added. Oh, don't end opponent's turn. We want to exhaust that. Hey, it's not a... So this may not be correct, but I actually don't want to swing with the Probe Warpair right now. Because I'd like to get some more Dreadling value off of it. So I've lost count. Is this our 3rd or our 4th dungeon attempt of the night? I think this is Galathius or Goliath's 3rd. Because he had 2, then Birthing Potter, you had 1. Yeah, so this is our 4th dungeon run of the night. You're in line for the 5th, which there's very likely going to be time for, because I still plan to be up for another hour and 20 minutes. And I only had to do 1 filler Evo game, so not a bad night. I missed a trigger there, and I drew another shard. That's bad. Missed a counter there at the end of their turn. Boisterous Ballad at our end phase. There's going to be yet another thing that could swing in next turn. Very likely could have do something to hit the charge power here. Yep, there is the charge power. Does it get used here? Alright, Webborn Apostate. Ooh, that's good. They're going to have... That's 2 charges this turn. So the Rift Spasms are going to see some value off of that. Alright, so that's invincible. Probably the only thing attacking. Yep. So one of them got bigger and one of them made a Bolt Spasm. So I'm going to use Explosion to get rid of the one that Explosion will actually kill. Scrounge to summon some Dreadlings. Go ahead and swing with all of them because we can just exhaust the Probe Warp Hair to make a Dread Factory online next turn. That might not have been a horrible spot to use the charge power, but I would like to attempt to save that for a situation where more Dreadlings are going to get put out. But this is going to be a painful crackback. Razor Edge Duelist is 3-2 with Swift Strike. Rift Spasm is 4-5. And then that's, I mean, if any of the 3 of these swing, I would probably trade the Probe Warp for them at this point to get a threat off the board. Butcher is available to take out that Rift Spasm if it attacks. It'd probably be the best use of that. Okay, and there's a Rock Slider to do some more charge value. Indigo Trickster Conscripted. When this deals damage to your champion, transform a random non-resource card into something else. Ugh, excuse me. When you play an action, it gets +1/+1. Golly. That would transform the Butcher into something that's not a Butcher. So we're going to block it. And cry. Because I wanted to take out something else. Alright, time to get rid of that. Play Burly Botanist. Hope that we can stabilize here, because our board is definitely the weaker board. So this would be... Oh, Pyre Strike. No! Well, I think that pretty much sealed our fate. I would Alpha Swing with everything here. Alright, wants to play the 0 loss route. Probe Warp was going to be dead at the start of our turn anyway, so might as well use it for a block. Okay, so we'll deal 2, we'll gain 2. But the crackbacks are intense here. And again, I would just continue to Alpha Strike. Yep, exactly that. Rock Slider gets the kill this time. Oh, that's good. That'll be for 2 charges, which will make that a 7-4. So now those 2 die, and we still have to take 2 damage. That's lethal. First room is dead. And now we just wait for the challenge for the next room. Alright, room 2. Okay, so turn 2, determine Bushi, 1 piece of removal, try to get Iotachi Brute. This is a workable starting hand. So we'll go ahead and keep this, especially since we're on the draw here. Alright, Tempestuous Blade Dancer when we get to 5 is a nice draw. This is one of my favorite uncommon cards. I think the art is fantastic. Beautiful card art. Speed, Crush, Steadfast. It's a little less good now. I mean, you're not going to see it in Constructed, but it was one of my favorite cards to snap up back in its limited heyday. Alright, so we'll throw out the Determined Bushi. We drew Arendelle Monk, which is awesome, but useless right now until we get a second Wild Threshold. This guy's Diligence, so when he readies, he gets +2/+2 in Spell Shield until the start of your next turn. Which means if he survives 1 swing, he becomes a 5/5 Spell Shielder and becomes much tougher to get off the board. Alright, so this is potentially suboptimal, but I'm going to Pyre Strike the Arena Regular so that Determined Bushi can swing without dying and try to get this guy powering up. That also makes Iotachi Brute playable. Well, I guess it would have been playable next turn anyway, even without. Alright, mistakes may have been made, because now Rock Slider is going to crack in for 5. We definitely trade an Iotachi Brute for a Rock Slider if the opportunity presents itself. Okay, we'll deal 3, but we're losing this race right now. We want to get Rock Slider off the board. Alright, Boisterous Ballad hits a what? Tezozo. Rage 2, Speed, Deathcry, put them in your deck. That's a nice hit. That is an obnoxiously good hit. Although if all we have to do is put something in front of it so that it dies and then hope that he never sees it again. Alright, let's see what the swings are here. Only to Zozo. Alright. I do want to get that off the table, and I don't want to go to 10. We're going to hope that never shows its ugly face again. And now we're going to crash in to try to make this more of a race. Alright, that brings us down to 14-14. Love me some Banjo-Kazooie remixes. As soon as I become aware of some good ukulele remixes, those are going to get added into the playlist too. So I think I would trade the Tempestuous Blade Dancer for Rock Slider here, if the chance presents itself. Some cards are going to need to be expended and charges gained to turn that into something that trades with it. Have to gain at least 2 charges. Which could be done with Sapphire's Favor, so it is possible off a single card. We don't have we can't play Grandfather Elk's Charge Power yet, because we need the second wild. Okay, what is the play here? I expect Tempestuous Blade Master to die. Deploy, gain a charge. Okay, that's how you're going to do it. That is how you're going to do it. So those two are going to trade. And that leaves the Arena Regular here, dealing damage just through charge gain. And the Flashpaw Trickster is a 4/2 body. I really would have loved to have found a second wild threshold. Now this could get killed, but it'd be a 2-for-1. Alright, so Iotachi Brood's gonna come down, as is a second Determined Bushi. And we're gonna pass. We could do some. If we ever find the second wild threshold and are able to activate Grandfather Elk's charge to give a troop +3/+3 and crush, then we probably just win. Should have champion powered. Yeah, I probably would have let it through then. I don't think I would have wanted to give up a troop. I might have just let a hit happen. Have to roll back the tape. Okay, yeah, I did. Yeah. I was checking to make sure I had the prize list updated and everything. I do. That's all looking correct. Alright, now we just have to wait out our opponent's decision making here. And if anybody has any interesting hex stories, been up to any good cool shenanigans in game, let me know. Always happy to chat. Although Timogor liked to try to stump me and screw me up where I couldn't. You know, he'd try to get me confused between playing the game and managing a chat and having too many things going on at the same time. But I'm totally fine with that. It helps me become a better streamer as I kind of learn to juggle around what we're doing. Okay, but now do I want to let 5 damage through? If I mute my mic for a second here, it's because I'm fighting a sneeze. Ooh, that was fun. That has crush, so I could block and that would still deal 2 to 3 points of damage. Huh. Kind of a quiet night on the streamers front. Varanus is going. Mokog is on the official channel. King Saru the 13th. A couple streamers I'm not familiar with. Myself, Bosmapar. Okay. There's a whole host of things that could be in that hand that kill us if we let all this damage through. So I'm going to take the risk of letting 5 damage through and only block the arena regular. I'm also going to skip the next 2 tracks on my playlist. Oh, it doesn't work that way. It just moves up the one you clicked on. Well, alright, fine. Alright, zaps us for 1. Gains a charge, steals another. Sapphire's... Oh, that almost did it. That almost did it. Now they're overextended. Not quite lethal. Nice attempt, though. Got us down to a single point of health. Dang near had it. And bow to my mighty limited rank of 451. Alright. Birthing Potter, you are up. You are the only other person in the queue right now. So you may challenge me when ready. If we have any viewers in the channel who have decks of common and uncommon only cards that are standards of the last 4 sets and you wish to challenge the dungeon, please do let me know. It is pretty likely that we would still have room to add you into the queue. For tonight. Sugarcane 88. I will build the deck and queue as soon as I finish up my work here. Sounds good. My intended runtime is about 54 more minutes. I usually wrap up at 10. Alright. So Goliath, you are in the queue on the condition that Sugarcane 88 does not have a deck finished. If Sugarcane does get a deck finished and wishes to challenge the dungeon before I go down, then I would let someone go. Okay, well then Sugarcane is giving you priority, where I would have given Sugarcane priority because they've not ever done a dungeon run. So I do like to give preference to people who've not yet had an opportunity to try. But if Sugarcane's passing the buck back up to you, then I'm totally okay with that. But it's Birthing Potter's run, so I'll give you guys some time to sort out who wants to go first. At this point, it's academic because Sugarcane's not ready. Regardless, I will tell you though, Sugarcane, if you let Goliath go first, that probably means you're not going to get a run this week. You might have to wait until next week, because it's possible, but it might be a stretch to squeeze 3 runs into the last hour, unless people play fast or scrub early. It can be done, but I'm uncomfortable promising it. Alright, so Birthing Potter is rolling into the dungeon with Takahiro. If room number 3 is not fallen by the end of the night, then I will add a post into the Hex forum thread announcing that an Evo pack bounty has been added for room 3. Okay, so this is not the best hand. I think I would have liked one more shard here, but Shoku's Garden and Dread Botanist and the 2 shards to hit them are fine. We're also on the draw, so we're going to have an opportunity to hit the 3rd shard that we need to keep curving out with this. So that was a good draw if we find a 3rd shard in the near future. Alright, I'm going to skip that one, and I'm skipping that one. Here we go. Star Wars Adele parody. Okay, that's not a shard either. So we're in Ashoku's Garden. Next turn, Dread Botanist if we don't draw a shard. I think if we hit a shard, then I think it's Dread Apprentice. Just to be resource efficient, and we get more Dreadlings and damage out early that way. Alright, there's a second Voracious Zombie, so they're going to have the power-up combo going. Is that, okay, it's a one-shot, but it's instant speed, too. Okay, good news. Third shard. So, we're going to play a Dread Apprentice to keep the Dreadling train rolling. Dealer 3, pass it back. And I think Dread Apprentice will trade for a Voracious Zombie if needed. Okay, there's nothing in the crypt, so thankfully we don't have to sacrifice right now. No swings. Alright, we're gonna go ahead and Explosion that. Summon more Dreadlings. Alright, goes ahead and sacrifices it into the zombie power. And so that is why Dread Apprentice is going to stay back as a blocker. Because they can become 6/3. No swing. Alright, so Burly Botanist is going to come out here. And I'm also going to hold a swing. And now it's going to be a bit of a dance of zombie growth versus Dreadling generation. Because these two can become 6/3s through this Voracious Zombie's power at any time. With 30 health, I would trade one to kill. I would trade the Dread Apprentice to kill a zombie. I would not give up the Burly Botanist. I want to force the use of removal, like Strangle or something on that if we're going to lose it. Or Gruesome Deed also fits the bill. But now no troop was played, so we can get rid of that via Explosion. Without it sacrificing itself into some other kind of power. So can't use that one shot right now. Gonna go ahead and use the charge power. And swing in for 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That probably gets us there, barring some surprises. Didn't have it. Alright, Birthing Potter's knocked out. Goliath, you're up. Sugarcane still in the running for having a shot tonight. So we're going to add, with that loss, we are going to update the failed attempts counter to 11. And we're going to add 5,000 gold into the grand prize pool. So the gold total now stands at 20,000 gold. Right, I don't know if Sugarcane has a deck ready yet, though. I thought they said they had some work to do. Yeah, so Sugarcane, if you do have a deck ready and you want to play, let us know. Couldn't find a Relentless Zombie, Eager Lackey, or Naive Lackey, or Tomb Swap. Yep. Goliath, go ahead. Go ahead and send me a challenge when you're ready. Because last I see in chat, Sugarcane needed to build a deck and didn't say they had one done yet. So for now, we will assume still building it. Silver Standard, Room 1. Yep, I think that's Sugarcane giving the blessing. Go! Otherwise it'd be no! I think this gets thrown back. Lots of 3-drops, but oof, those are some rough mauls. Yeah, we're not. Alright, this is even worse, but I don't want to maul anymore. So we're going to sit on 4 blood shards and 2 wild troops, because we are a professional dungeon master. Well, this might actually slowly start to turn into something. I may hold off. I would probably delay the Dread Apprentice playing by a turn, so that there is a Dreadling in the Crypt to be able to scrounge for Dread Apprentice activation. And that is what we are going to do, because we could not find a wild shard. Alright, so let's see what we have coming up here. Arena regular, so now charges are going to start hurting. No swing, and we now have a bolt spasm to deal with. Alright, we'll go ahead and scrounge the one to summon some more. We'll go ahead and use that now, just so we don't hoard it. And I would be surprised if there's any blocks here. Okay, there goes, ooh. Takes out the larger body, not the dreadling generator. Not gonna block anything here. Ready to queue next time if you have time, though. Decks are literally just thrown together. That's alright. Learn by watching. Improve them as time goes on. No harm in that. Alright, so you are next up if we have time. And I do run past my normal end time. If we're mid-run with somebody, I'm not going to just, let you get to the final boss and then go, oh, you ran out of time, too bad. That's not how I roll. So we probably have to take 5 here. Nope, just 3, I suppose. Theoretical trade there. Still no wild shard. That is painful. Oh, I should attack that pre-combat. Now I'm just starting to make mistakes. But quick speed 4-2. We're just in a bad way without ever finding that for never finding the wild shard. Full swing here be 4, 7. Alright, so that's just 5 Crush Invincible. That's 8. So I'm going to stop 3. Get a counter out of the Dread Factory here. And hope for a wild shard. Nope. We're dead. We're dead. Fire Strike. So now that's dead on board. Just swing with everything. Alright. Goliath got through room 1. And is now on to room 2. Oops. Alright, so I will throw up the map here for a moment while we're waiting for the challenge. Not the most complicated layout. Alright, Room 2. Alright, oh, yep, that's the notice. We're going to take off the dungeon map. Alright, 2 rooms in. Galathius has won the coin flip. Alright, so this hand is a little slow. Determined Bushi's good on 2. Pyre Strike is there as a piece of removal. Tempestuous Blade Master won't get going until 5, but Tempestuous Blade Master is also really good. And there's the second piece of removal. So this is totally cool. We can work with this. And we're going to have to deal with something that has speed coming into our face this turn. Oh, that's a really good hit. That's going to get pay 4, summon a Phantom or a Blaze Elemental. That's quite good. So we're winding down to the last couple runs of the night. I want to thank you all for coming and hanging out with me on a Wednesday night. As a reminder, this is Dungeon Masters of Entrath, my weekly game show every Wednesday night, where I design decks for you to try to challenge in the name of massive grand prizes when somebody is able to successfully string together the wins to pull it off. I go live every Wednesday night, 5 p.m. Pacific. My Twitter handle is Thrawn Omega, exactly the same as it is for Twitch here. That's probably the best place to follow me for any updates on the stream schedule. Current plan is... Well, there is no current plan. I will just say there's the possibility of a special bonus stream on Saturday. More on that to come as I review my schedule and just make sure that I am actually clear to stream. I don't think I have anything coming up, but I don't want to tell everybody, yeah, come on Saturday, extra chances to win some prizes, and then like 12 hours later go, JK, my bad. I'm actually going somewhere. So I am actually going to play Iotachi Brute here hardcasted. And I would probably trade these 2 straight up. And save the removal for a more annoying target. So now if we get a shard, the path is clear for Tempestuous Blade Master to... Alright, didn't get a shard, so I'm gonna do this instead. Play a lackey. Oof. If one of your cards or effects would conscript an underworld troop, create that many +1 instead. When you conscript, it gets +1/+1. We could play that next turn. So I am going to greed and not play the second lackey for the value that Web Speaker Cenobite would provide. So that would give us 2 hits on the lackey, and it would become a bigger body. So we'll see if I am punished for my greed. But a shard would be sweet. That's not a shard. Which means all I can do is play the web speaker. Yeah, that's rough. File this under punish for greed. So that's an invincible 5. If we block there, we're still taking 2, 4, 6. So we are straight up dead. Because we can kill one thing, and we can create a blocker for another. But 2 swings is fatal. Any charge gain, that's death right there. Doesn't even have to attack. Alright, room 2's fallen. Alright, now the all-important question. Left or right? I should pull up the dungeon map again. Boom. Left has the Evo bounty for being the first person to clear it. Let's see if I can break room 3. Good luck. And the bounty on room 3 is going to be granted whether this dungeon run is successful or not. So that bounty is not contingent upon taking the left fork and then ultimately winning. But room 3 has won 3 consecutive times, and it has won in the most ugly fashion if you're the opponent. So we're gonna see if Galathius can punch through and be the first person to defeat it. The bounty hunters have come for you, Bishop Elijah. You've broken the laws of nature and conscripted too many times. And ooh, could this be a mirror match? We have another Bishop Elijah deck. Oh, none of the conscript hits. Throw it away. 1 shard. Throw it away. Keep it. Mesa Caretaker. When you conscript an ardent troop, create a Valor and put it into your hand. Should have killed an arena regular in response to the zap. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I made some mistakes in that last one. Dungeon Master starts making some punts towards the end of the night. Alright, so that's 1 damage. And there is a Sacred Stance. It was a mistake to play that shard. Watch as I never get the second diamond now. Alright, Midnight Paladin is only ever going to be a 2/2 life drain. Mirror match confirmed. Alright, so we're going to do that. Play a Deepwood Droka of our own. That says flying? Yeah, when it attacks it gets flight. Okay. That's fine. It may have been smarter to leave one blocker open, actually, because the conscript is gonna... Oh man, 2 sacred stances. We are gonna lose the conscript war here. That was nasty. Alright, so we gotta take 5. And already beginning to feel the punishment of not of playing the shards in the wrong order because we can't bring to justice that. And with the twin sacred stances, they've gotten a little bit too big to effectively stop. Well, Blessed Scout's gonna have a hard time getting through.